Welcome students. We saw chapter 1, 2 and 3 that was about creating HTML form using Composer, then how we can add CSS in our form, how we can add JavaScript to make our form more meaningful so that no unwanted and wrong data goes to server. And then last third chapter we saw how we can create a simple e-commerce website and then how we can publish it. So that was the first section of chapter 1, 2, 3 about web page and web page designing. Now chapter 4 and 5 are in one category. Chapter 4 is about introduction to e-commerce, and as you know, introduction to e-commerce is not a new topic. We all are very much familiar with e-commerce, but we need to discuss this chapter as per the textbook content, and we will continue accordingly. You know that we are living in area of information technology, the era of information technology, and information now is available from many sources. It's like through radio we get some information, through newspaper, through television, through internet. So all these are sources of information, and we are in that era where we get different information from all these different sources. The availability of internet and mobile devices nowadays has changed the way we used to access information. Previously, if you ask your parents, your grandparents, previously before 25-30 years, it was very difficult to find certain information because that time internet was not so popular, it was not easily available, and even if it was available, it was very costly. There were no so much website, the number of websites which we see right now. So even though you had internet, there were very little information available online. But now the scenario has changed. Now anybody, not only you, anybody wants any information, we can get very quickly using Google and internet and mobile device and computers. So the availability of internet and mobile devices and laptops and computer and tablet, they have changed the way we used to access information. Earlier, websites were used mainly to disseminate, that means to distribute information about the product or organization. So like initially websites were created only for promoting business or some product. But now today internet is being used for people for many reasons. There are many purposes and many reasons. We use internet for paying bills through different wallet, Paytm and Freecharge, and there are many wallets, Google Pay and other. We use even internet for banking activities where we do almost everything related to bank, transferring fund, creating fixed deposit, requesting for the new checkbook and many other things we do online using internet and computer. And finally the most popular is shopping. We do shopping online, and I think this last few months people have extensively used e-commerce, internet and computer for ordering food online, groceries online. So shopping is again one of the most popular area of e-commerce. And the way it has been done, you know that it's totally changed the lifestyle. Business organizations, they conduct their business activities like marketing of product, selling of product, providing catalog about new product they are launching, new scheme they are launching, trading of stocks and customer service. All these business activities are now done online. Think the way stock market activities changed because of e-commerce. Previously, stock market activity which was purely done on paper, now it is totally done digitally, and it has benefited those who are investing in share market or they are working in the field of share market, because things are very transparent now, things are very quick, accurate, it uses less resources, no paper is wasted for printing things and certificate and this and that. Everything is done online, digitally. So business organization, customer and society, everybody are getting benefit from e-commerce. The use of internet for conducting such different business activities, in short, is known as e-commerce or electronic commerce. So when any business organization, they do any kind of activities like selling their product or selling the advertisement of their product, providing the different catalog about different products of their brand, or purchasing or sale of share markets, or even providing some customer service, or providing some website where customer can download some patches, some updates of antivirus or some updates about their accounting software they purchased. All these activities, in short, is known as e-commerce. So e-commerce can also be defined as buying and selling of products, services, and information using electronic media like internet. This is very important statement because we have that concept in our mind that e-commerce means Flipkart and Amazon and all this. That's it. No. Actually, e-commerce is not only buying and selling product, but as you can read, even the services and information which we get from internet also part of e-commerce. So if you are googling something for some information, it is e-commerce. If you are providing some services online for downloading some software or updating some software or giving the drivers for different hardware or some information about certain topics, all these things are considered as e-commerce. So e-commerce is not only confined to purchasing product online, it is also the services and informations and every other activities which we carry out using electronic media like computer and internet. So that is what the broader definition of e-commerce. The impact of e-commerce. We all know the impact of e-commerce, but as per the textbook what it says, let us discuss. E-commerce is a modern business methodology. You know that. It is the modern and latest business methodology that addresses to the needs of organization, merchants and customers. So it is not only addressing or it is not only for the business house, it is for the organization or merchants and also for the customers, and that also in the cutting cost while improving the quality of goods and services. Cutting costs, you know that online we get sometimes great offers for different products which on traditional business we don't get. Cashback offer and discount offer and so many things are available online. Improving the quality of the goods. If you are purchasing from a genuine website, then you are very much sure about the quality of the goods also which are being sold online. And even the services, online services are very transparent. There is no discrimination between customer to customer. Every customer have been treated same way online. When it is online, everybody is treated in the same manner. So that is the best part of e-commerce and the most important impact of e-commerce. In traditional business, it may happen that a business person may deal with different customers differently. If I am going to a certain shop almost every month or every week and purchasing many things from that shop, then that shopkeeper will have a good rapport with me and he will provide me good service. If somebody else is going to that shop quite often but not purchasing anything, and sometimes something they purchase and that also with so much of bargaining, then that person will not get the same services afterward. So that discrimination is there in physical or traditional e-commerce. But online e-commerce, there is no such discrimination between customers. Another thing is e-commerce also increases the speed of delivery. Speed of delivery is now increased by e-commerce. If you are in metro city, sometimes you get the product within a day. So the speed of delivery is also increased. E-commerce also allows people to rise above the barriers of time and distance. Now there is no time bound. Traditional business, if you want to go for net banking activities, physical banking activity, you are bounded to certain days, working days and working hours. But if you want to do net banking, there is no working hours, there is no working days. Even on Sunday also, you can transfer fund from your account to somebody else's account. So there is no barrier of time. There is no barrier of distance also. You know that net banking can be done if my account is in one of the bank in Rajkot, and if I am in somewhere in Australia, then from there also I can do the banking activity. If I am in Rajkot and if I want to order something where the website belongs to Canada, then also I can do that. So there is no barrier of time, no barrier of distance. And it takes the benefit of global markets, and different business opportunities. So global market, the benefit of global market. If we are going for traditional commerce, you might be going to 2 3 different shops for price comparison. But when you are doing the same shopping online, you have plenty of websites all around the world, and you can compare the price and quality and all the schemes, and then finally you can decide. So that is what customers are getting global markets, and business opportunities are also increased because for every business now there is no barrier of distance. Any website can sell any product to any part of the world. So that is the advantage of or impact of e-commerce. E-commerce also creates a whole world of global village. Now the entire world has become a small global village from where anyone can buy or sell anything, anytime and from anywhere. This is again very important, that now the world has become a small village. So we don't bother that the website on which we are putting our order or purchasing something, that website is in which country, that website owner or that website from where it operates. It may be in the next society where we are living, it may be in the next neighboring state, it may be in the next country, neighboring country, or it may be some far other countries of the other world. It doesn't matter. So there is no restriction or limitations of geographical locations. You can do all these activities, e-commerce, anytime, and we know that. For traditional commerce, if at midnight 2 o'clock, if I feel that I want to purchase a t-shirt, it is not possible because most of the shop will be closed at midnight 2 o'clock. But online business runs 24/7. And from where you can do all these activities? You can do all these activities from anywhere. It is not time bounded, it is not place bounded. So you can do it anytime from anywhere. So that is the greatest impact of e-commerce. Applications of e-commerce. There are many different applications of e-commerce. And the major areas of business and commercial activities where e-commerce is widely used are, these are the areas given by textbook. As you know, and even I know, that where e-commerce is being used everywhere, not only in the areas which are specified here. E-commerce is widely used nowadays in almost every area of our day-to-day activity. Even the education field, you know that since last 1 year, e-commerce is being used extensively for education because of the pandemic, where it was not possible to have physical classroom. Every school, every organization, every educational institution, they started their activity online. So that is also part of e-commerce. So it is widely used in different areas. Some of the areas which are discussed in textbook are internet bookshops, where we purchase books online through internet, electronic newspaper, where we get newspaper, we read newspaper electronically, that is digitally, online auctions, that is called Harraji, but online auctions where we can take part in that auction from any part of the world at our comfort time and comfort level. Marketing and selling, you know that marketing is done digitally, selling, there is no boundary, no time bound. Online billing, the bill are prepared now online, which saves paper, manpower, and many other things. Information services, as you know that we get all the informations online. So for any information, now we don't have to go to library and search in the different reference books. Most of the information we easily get through online activities like googling the information, and we get the information easily available. Support services, we get all the supports for digital activities online. For that we don't need to go physically anywhere. For example, if I have purchased accounting software from a very far city, if I am staying somewhere in North India and I purchase the accounting software somewhere from South Indian company from South India, and if I want some modification in that software, that none of us has to travel. Neither I had to go to that South India, neither that company fellow has to come to North India. He can fix that problem online. And that is what the greatest support service is. And net banking, the last topic which textbook is given about, where e-commerce is widely used, is net banking. And you know that the net banking graph, the net banking activity graph, which was slowly going up, but from March 2020, when lockdown started, the net banking activity almost increased vertically, and almost everybody started doing net banking activities because it was not possible, or rather it was very risky to go out physically for banking activity. So people started doing net banking activity from their home, from the safe environment. So these are the different 8 areas where e-commerce has got their application and their impact. Let us see in detail as per the textbook. Internet bookshops. This was the first application of e-commerce on internet that all of you would be knowing. That the very first e-commerce website which caught everybody's attention or which became popular was Amazon.com. So that was the first application of e-commerce and Amazon.com. And when Amazon started online, it was selling books online, only books. So initially Amazon was selling only books. Nowadays Amazon is selling almost everything because they say that they are selling more than 3.5 crores of different products. So now not only books, they are almost selling everything. So, but still Amazon is remembered as the very first e-commerce website selling books online. What as a customer we can do on such website? So customers prefer purchasing books on internet. The reason is because the books do not require to be physically checked. So it is very easy. You don't need to find that book from the shelf and then take it and then check it. It is digitally available, so it can be checked on internet and can be easily described on website that about what that book is all about, and it's in short what customer will get from that book, what kind of story it is or what kind of review it has, all these things. Another thing is the search of a book which is online can be made by title of the book or the author names of the book or by the publication or the publishers of the book, which again makes it very easy to search particular book. Whereas in traditional commerce, you know, if you go to a bookshop, and if you ask for a certain book, they might take some time to find that whether that book is with them or not. And sometimes they couldn't find it. Actually, he was having that book, but couldn't find it. and we had to just go back. Or sometimes it may happen that he may try to sell us the book which he wants to sell by propagating about that book. But when it is online, we can check every book easily, availability of that book we can check, and we can even read the reviews about the book who has already purchased it, and then we can make our decision whether we want to purchase that book or not. But the most important is you don't need to go out of your comfort zone, you don't need to go out of your house, you are not time bounded કે આટલા જ સમયમાં મારે જઈને બુક લેવાની છે, પરચેસ કરવાની છે. No traffic problem, no pollution because no vehicle is used, and ultimately it saves your time. So that is the best part of purchasing books online, that it is very transparent. We can search the book very quickly, easily, and once the book is searched, and we can review the books by reading the reviews given by other readers, and then finally can decide whether we want to purchase or not. Some of the large online bookstores as per the textbook are this, and we need to remember this as for the board exam purpose. So it's like www.amazon.com, that is the very first one. Then we have shopping.indiatimes.com, where again you can find so many books. There is another website is www.buybookindia.com and www.bookshop.india.com. On all these websites you can find many different books, you can search about that book, you can see the reviews of that book, and then make purchase. So that is internet bookshops. Do remember this website's name because board is asking questions based on this website's name. Second area is electronic newspaper. An electronic newspaper, which is also known as e-newspaper, is a newspaper which exists in the form of digital. So the newspaper or the magazine which are available digitally online, not physically but in the form of digital form, it is called e-newspaper or electronic newspaper. With the advent of digital technologies, the browsers now can be set to select the news as per the interest of the reader. So we can decide, you must have observed when you work with yahoo.com. So yahoo.com, when you log out of yahoo.com, it gives you so many different areas, news from different areas, and you can go to particular area of your interest and read the latest news about that area. Even it allows you to select your preferences, okay, what kind of area news you would like to receive initially. So like sports and Bollywood and music, and you can decide all these different selections of your choice, and then browser will give you those news on the top. So that is again because of the digital technologies. Electronic newspaper also removes the hassles of printing process, and further it helps in reducing the cost. Now you know that only designing of the newspaper is required, digital designing of the newspaper is required. It is not required to be printed on paper. So that is the biggest expense which is now removed. Now there is no need of printing it on paper, no distribution, physical distribution for which we need many humans to be like for distributing the newspaper to different areas. So all these things are removed. It just needs to be designed digitally using certain softwares like PageMaker or Photoshop and other advanced software for designing page, and then it is distributed digitally. Electronic newspaper has many advantages over the printed newspaper, and that we know. The biggest advantage is printed newspaper. Suppose it got printed at the midnight 2 o'clock, the last news came, and then newspaper was printed physically. After newspaper got printed, if there is any major event happening anywhere in the world, will not be covered in that physical newspaper. But when it is electronic newspaper, if you are subscribed for a particular newspaper online, you will be keep on getting all the breaking news push notifications, so that you will be always aware about the latest things happening around the world. So that is the biggest advantage of electronic newspaper over traditional printed newspaper. Electronic newspaper can give us up-to-date news. That is what even the last point we discussed on the issues that are happening worldwide. And remember, that is again very important. Worldwide. Because physical newspaper are not able to cover everything happening around the world. Though it covers most of the things happening around the world, but still, if you have some specific country, specific city news, if you want, then you may not find it in physical newspaper, and for that the best is you need to refer to electronic newspaper. You must be knowing that there are certain websites where you can have subscription about your different newspapers and magazines and tabloid. Most of them are free. Some of them they require you to pay certain amount for the subscription. But the best part is we will be getting all the latest information, updated information from the worldwide. Third area is online auction, that is Haraji. Online auction has changed the way traditional auction has been done. Traditional auction has got so many limitations. First and the biggest limitation is you need to go there personally. So you need to spend time, you need to travel, you need to spend money. Whereas online auction, you can take part from any part of the world. Let's say, for example, any businessman is at present in London, and he comes to know that after 2 days there is an auction in Australia, and also there is an auction in New York. So now he won't be able to attend both of them. Either he has to select New York auction, or he has to select the auction which is in Australia, Melbourne. He cannot be there if both of the auctions are physical auction. But suppose if both of the auctions are online, he doesn't need to travel anywhere. He can take part online in not only these two auctions, but as many auctions happening around the world. So that is online auction. Now, what is an auction? What is auction? As per the textbook, the definition is an auction is the process of buying and selling different products and or different services by offering the customers to bid the price and selling the product to the highest bidder. You know that we all are bidders. If we are taking part in any auction, we all are bidders. We put our bidding amount which is comfortable to us, and such all the parties taking part in the auction will be having their bidding amount, and then whoever bid highest amount will get the product, or the whatever, for whatever reason, or for whatever services that online auction was conducted. So that is, there are two things, bidder and seller. Let us see that. When we place a product for auction on website, we are a seller. If I have something which I want to sell it out, and I am putting that thing on auction website, I am a seller. And if we bid for a product which is placed by some different sellers, then we are bidder. So seller and bidder, you must be knowing about this, that there are websites like ebay.com, olx.com, where different people who wants to sell something which they already have, they keep those product online on that auction site, so they are sellers. And if somebody wants to purchase those product, they will bid for that product, then in that case they are bidder. So seller and bidder, they come together on a website, where website is acting as a medium where seller and bidder come and do the transaction. To sell an item through an online auction site, the only thing is you need to first register with the site. You need your registration so that website comes to know that who you are digitally. So that is first we need to register, we need to create our account, we need to register with our username and you need to give password, and then you can access this online auction websites through that data. Some of the popular auction sites as per the textbook are www.ebay.com, www.onlineauction.com, www.mybids.in, and www.ubit.com. These are some of the examples given in the textbook. I know that you are not finding OLX here, but it is up to textbook author. He has not written this, but otherwise OLX also is an online auction website, which is actually nowadays the most popular website for selling and purchasing online. So that is, all these are online auction website. The next area is marketing and selling. You know that online marketing is the one of the cheapest marketing and one of the most effective marketing style. So let us see what textbook says about marketing and selling. Many companies provide their product catalog online over internet for better marketing. So that is again one of the marketing strategy, that if I have 10,000 customers and I have their WhatsApp number or I have their mail IDs, then what I do is whenever I am launching a new product or a new scheme, I will send that notification to all those my customers online, either through email or through WhatsApp or through message, MMS or any method. So that is called digital marketing. It is very effective. It reaches to everybody without fail and doesn't require any printing of paper, so no papers are wasted, no manpower, much manpower is used, no stamping and courier charges are there, no delay in delivery. The very effective thing is here, from one point, if somebody sends message or some catalog digital to a broadcast list in WhatsApp or to a group of email IDs created, it will be reaching to everyone at the same point of time. There is no question of no delivered product or nothing. Provided all the email addresses or the mobile numbers are correct, things will be delivered properly. An online shopping cart, which is again, you know that it's very useful while you are making online shopping. So there is a shopping cart which is similar to the original store shopping cart. Only thing is, online shopping cart is in digital form. But whatever product you are selecting online during your online purchase, you can keep those products in shopping cart, so that finally when you check out, you can decide that whether you want to purchase all those things or you want to make some modification and then final payment. So in online shopping cart, the customer can add product, review what he or she has selected, make necessary modification again or some addition, and then finally order the product while checking out. So that is for online shopping, and you should know that what is online shopping cart. Still in marketing and selling, the user needs to provide shipping details. So when you are purchasing online, you know that you need to give your address, otherwise how they will send and where they will send the product which you have purchased. And the payment of the purchase can also be made through internet. Mostly they take payment online through credit card or net banking or through wallet, or if somebody wish can order as cash on delivery also. So that is how payment is done. We can easily buy an airline or railway tickets online, and that also we can buy from the government website, that is irctc.co.in, Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation. So that is www.irctc.co.in, where you not only can book the railway ticket, you can even book the flight tickets also using this IRCTC website. Once the tickets are booked, its e-copy is sent on our email, as well as it may be sent as an SMS or as also as WhatsApp message, which we don't need to print. We can show that digital copy from our mobile, and then we can continue our traveling. So that is also another thing. One more thing is about marketing and selling I would like to add in this is that effective marketing is online marketing. We all have witnessed 2014 election, and I personally witnessed that during 2014 election, BJP covered almost every digital media, and you open any website, you will see the advertisement of BJP. So that is also one sort of marketing, and it was very effective, and we could see the result of that marketing which was done online during 2014 election. Some of the popular websites used for marketing and selling, they are again, these are the list as per the textbook: www.homeshop18.com, www.flipkart.com, www.mintra.com, and www.makemytrip.com. And also one more thing which already came in second point is www.irctc.co.in. So these are the different websites for marketing and selling. So friends, today what we discussed is about e-commerce. What is e-commerce? The impact of e-commerce, impact on society, impact to the customer, and impact for the business house. Then we saw different applications of e-commerce in different area. We have seen the first four, that is internet bookshops, electronic newspaper, online auctions, and marketing and selling. So that is internet bookshop. Please remember the website names given in the textbook. These four website names for internet bookshop. For e-newspaper, we also discussed what are the advantages of e-newspaper. Online auction also, there are four examples given for the website of online auction, and you know that what is auction website. Marketing and selling we also discussed, and in marketing and selling we also saw what is shopping cart, what can be done with the shopping cart, and then how payment is made. We also saw different websites for marketing and selling, that is www.irctc.co.in and the other websites. Online billing. Online billing is one of the best for all those business houses who has got thousands of customers. So in online billing, companies send their bills to customers through email or WhatsApp or many other different e or electronic media. So online billing is a boon for those companies and business houses who has got hundreds and thousands of customers. Previously, business houses has to print their bill or write their bill, handwritten bill, then post them, courier them, which all thing incurred so much of time and so much of money. But now, just by one click, company can send the bills to its thousands or lakhs of customer. For example, electricity bill, our gas pipe to gas bill, our mobile postpaid mobile bills, all these things are coming now online. It is very fast and very accurate. So companies who need to send the bills to a large number of customers periodically can use online billing facility. Once the customer receives the bill, he or she can again pay the bill also online. So it is good for both the company who is sending the bill and the person who is receiving the bill. For sending the bill, company don't need to print the bill, no courier charges, no time, very immediate. And for those who are receiving the bill, for them also paying those bills online is very easy. So they can pay the bills online on the company's website or through many different wallets and net banking or using credit card and debit card. So online billing is one of the best improvement which has happened in the e-commerce area. Information services. Organizations, they use the internet to provide latest information to their users or members. So through their website or through their emails, organizations keep updating their users about the new changes, new product launch, and many other information. Companies and banks send notices and reminders to the customer through this. That is also information service. If you transferred money from your account to somebody else's account, you will immediately be informed by bank that this much amount is deducted and it is credited in this particular account. At the same way, if you receive some amount, then also your bank will give you a message that this much amount is credited in your account. So that is one sort of information for which you don't need to every time go to bank and ask for the details. So that is information services. Organization that provide various forms to be downloaded so that the customer can easily download and use it. The best example is RTO. You know that most of the city RTO is far away from the city, and what happens when you need some work with RTO, you go there, you get the form, and then you realize that with that form you need to submit different documents which you have not brought. So again go back, prepare all the documents, and then again come to the RTO. But now for all the activities, RTO gives the form online so that you can download that form, read that form carefully, prepare all the documents, get all the Xerox and everything with you, and then you go to the RTO so that your work becomes very easy and fast. So customer can easily download all these documents and they can use it. Companies can get the information or details about the customer also by filling the online form. So sometimes, for example, XYZ University wants to make a database of their alumni, all the students. So what they do is they put a form online on their website and they send the link to all the ex-students of that university or college or school. And then students can fill that form so that university or that particular educational institute will collect all this data and can save the data for the future use. So information service is one of the best services available online in e-commerce. Even not up to this, we get, you know, that we get all the information wherever we stuck. Now, first thing comes in mind whenever we stuck for any work or any process. First thing comes in our mind is Google, so that we get all the information from Google. So that is information services. Support services. Support services is like backend tool. Like every companies, they provide support to their customers. So let us see how that support services work. Support services have become increasingly important due to the huge technological changes that have taken place in the last decade. So because of the huge changes in the technological area, support service has become very important. Previously, we were not having all these devices, complex devices with us. So there was no need of such support from any expert. But now you know that we have so many different devices, so many electronic gadgets for which we quite often require support. So that support services is again increasingly becoming important for all the customer. After selling the product, companies are providing support to the customer, and that is online. The best example is, suppose I purchased an accounting software from a company based at Bangalore. Now, after certain time, 2 3 months, when I took some printout from that accounting software, I felt that that printout or the report is not as per I wished. So I called that company, and what they will do is they don't need to come to Rajkot, neither I need to go to Bangalore. They will fix that problem online. So that is, customer can get online support from the companies whom they purchase this thing. Customer can also track the status of their complaint placed online, that you are very well aware about. if you have purchased something online through Amazon or Flipkart, and then if you put some complaint that product is not okay, you ordered for blue color t-shirt, and when you opened the packet, you received a yellow color t-shirt. So you put a complaint on the website, and they will give you a proper complaint number. So using that number, you can always communicate with the website, or rather with the company, regarding where your complaint is reached. So that also one sort of support service. Software companies provide online support to their customers. The example which I had already shared with you, for any problem in installation or configuration or even further in the use. So that is again one of the very best thing for support service. Another best example of support service for software is our antivirus software. If you have installed antivirus software in your computer, then you know that the software periodically automatically gets updated, which was not previously. Before 10-15 years, the situation was totally different. That you purchase antivirus software, then again after certain days or month or week, you download the patch for the another viruses, and then again install it. That was the case, but now everything is done automatically by the support of the company from which we have purchased the antivirus software or any other software. Hardware vendors, they put the software drivers for their devices so that the customer can download them, and choosing using proper product type and model, they can download the hardware driver. You must be knowing that for different hardwares to run properly with your computer, you must have the hardware drivers also installed in your computer. As of now, that problem is almost solved, because now most of the devices comes with the label of plug and play. Plug and play means you don't require any hardware for running that you don't require any software driver for running that hardware. It is just plug and play, like our mouse and other things, our pen drives, all these are now plug and play. But there was a time when to use pen drive, first you needed to install the driver for that pen drive, and then only you can use that pen drive. To use mouse, you need to install the driver for that particular mouse, and then only you can use that mouse. But now that problem is almost solved. But still there are certain hardwares for which we require their software drivers, and companies are keeping those drivers online so that we can download it and we can use it properly. Last is net banking. Net banking, you know that it is now today in present time, it is very difficult to find out anybody who is not using net banking. Almost everybody is using net banking. Government is also supporting that maximum you use net banking. Rather than going personally to the bank, for that you need to you are confined to certain timing, certain days. You cannot go to bank on holidays. You cannot go to bank early, very early in the morning, or very late in the evening. There is certain time limit and days when we can go to bank and do our work. But when it is net banking, there is no limit of time. You don't need to go anywhere out, can do it from anywhere, any place. So net banking or electronic banking is getting more popular day by day. And especially after March 2020, that is pandemic started and lockdown started, I think almost everybody started using net banking. So one way or other way, you need to use net banking in your day-to-day activity. Online banking is the process of conducting the banking transaction or banking activities over the internet using computer. So that is online banking. The customer is provided a password for online banking. You must be knowing that when you get facility of net banking from the bank where you have your account, they will provide you a user ID and you generate a password, and using that user ID and password you can access that banking activities. So online banking services with which he or she logs onto the bank site, and then perform banking activities from his computer or from mobile. With the help of online banking, customers can avail the following services. Now, before I read all these services, let me tell you one thing. This is just a simple list. The list should not be given for what we can do using net banking or online banking. The list should be given for what we cannot do using online banking. As far as I understand, using net banking or online banking, what we cannot do is we cannot deposit cash or check in our account using net banking from our home, and we cannot withdraw cash from bank using net banking. Rest of the all the activities can be done online, even right from the opening the account, which is a boon. Before few decades, opening bank account was a very tedious task. It required lot of trouble for the customer who wanted to open account. But now it is very simple. Now those who wants to open bank account, they can put a request online on that bank website, and a representative will come home or the address whichever you were given, office address, and your account will be opened. So opening an account with bank is also very simple now. Let us see the list which textbook has given. Using online banking, we can check account balance at any time, even at midnight. We can transfer money from one account to another account. That also can be done 24/7. We can obtain statements for credit card or debit card or even for the normal account statement. We can find the status of the transaction, whether that transaction is completed or not. And we can even pay various bills online using online banking or net banking. So this list keeps on going. We can even create fixed deposit, we can break fixed deposit, and we can do almost everything. We can even put a request for new checkbook. Everything can be done using net banking or online banking. So net banking or online banking is a boon to bank, customer and society. Bank is benefited because now no more customers are coming physically to bank. For customer, they don't need to go out of their comfort zone and can do all banking activities from any part of the world. And for society, it is benefited because society, because no more people are going to bank, so no traffic problem, no pollution. So that is the benefit to the society. So that is net banking. So these are the 8 areas given in the textbook for where the impact of e-commerce is seen great, like internet bookshop, electronic newspaper, online auction, marketing and selling, online billing, information services, support services, and net banking. Next is features of traditional commerce. What are the features of traditional commerce? And then we will compare it with electronic commerce. First thing is businesses have to compete within single industry and limited geographical area. If it is a traditional business, that shop has to compete with only other shops which are in that particular area. If there is a shop on Yagnik Road, Rajkot, then that shop has to compete only with the other shops on that same area nearby. But they don't have any competition with a shop which is in Hyderabad or which is in Delhi. So there is a limited geographical area where they have their customers. The retail merchants with their years of experience create the store design that helps to convince the customer. So that is a feature of traditional commerce, that the shopkeeper with his years of experience and expertise prepares the store design in such a way that customers are attracted to step into the shop. You must be knowing that during Diwali, different kind of the garments are kept outside in the showcase. During Christmas, all the red colored, mostly red and white colored clothes are kept outside the shop as a in the showcase. So that is because of the expertise of the business. Now this arrangement of the product and store design and even the layout of the store, that is called merchandising. So remember this. Again, board is asking this question quite often. What is merchandising? As an MCQ they are asking. So you should know that the shopkeeper, how he arranges the product in his store, how he designs the store, what kind of layout he is keeping for the store, all this thing is called merchandising. The merchant develops the skills to identify customer needs and find products and services that meet those needs. So they have sense. When they see particular customer, the shopkeeper or the owner will understand that this person likes dark color or this person likes this kind of product. So which is again a feature of traditional commerce, which is not actually possible in online or e-commerce. So merchant develops that skill and identifies each customer with their taste and then shows the product accordingly. Traditional commerce, it operates within a certain period of time. That's a limitation. The shop, any shop, there is some time limit. Might be opening morning 8 o'clock and shutting down at mid and 10 o'clock in the late evening. But still, there is some time when shop has to be closed. Whereas online e-commerce is 24/7. No traditional commerce can run 24/7. Another thing is no sharing of information with competitors. There it is, everything is kept secret. If there are 3 4 shops side by side for the same ready-made garments, but they don't share any information with their competitors. But online it is not possible. You know that if Flipkart decides that from tomorrow we will start a big billion day heavy discount sale, but we wished Amazon should not know it. That is not possible because over there everything is open, publicly open. Another point is hiring of salespersons and sales manager and etc. That is again a burden for business, traditional commerce, that to run their shop they need to hire salesperson, sales managers, accountants and other people, sweepers and peons and doorkeeper and all these things they need to hire if they want to run their business properly, and all this thing incurs some sort of expenses. And the biggest expense is which is shown in the last point, and that is location renting or purchasing, advertisement, inventory, shipping or product, shipping of product. Now the first, location renting or purchasing. See, if you want to start a traditional business, the biggest investment is in the purchasing a shop or renting a shop, because when you want to run your business properly, that shop must be at prime location, and prices of that shop at prime location would be very high. So that is the biggest expense when you start traditional commerce. Next is advertising. You need to furnish your shop. Once you rent or purchase a shop, then you need to furnish it with good furniture, air condition and all the good furniture, which is again another expense. Inventory. Then next thing is you need to keep stock. You need to keep all the stock, which online it is not required. Online they just keep the photograph and the details of that product. But in traditional business, they need to keep the physical stock, which also is a very big expense. And shipping of the product, that is also another expense, but that expense is also there in e-commerce. But the location renting, purchasing, advertising, and inventory are some of the very big expenses to start any traditional commerce business. Whereas the features of e-commerce, over there, advertisement of the product is done electronically. They don't need to actually keep the product hanging outside the shop because we don't know where that shop is. We don't know where Flipkart shop is, where we don't know where Amazon shop is. And they don't even need it on a prime location. Customers can browse through products catalog and available offers. So here they don't need any stock to keep in their shop. They just need to see the keep the product photograph in the form of good catalog with all the details. So customer can browse through that product catalog, photograph and all the details and what different offers are available on it. Customer can see that and decide whether to purchase it or not. E-payment systems are also used for receiving payment. That is the best part of e-commerce. In traditional commerce, when the final bill is prepared after all the bargaining, and that bill is suppose somewhere around 9,035 rupees, then what we will do is we will again don't we won't give that 35 rupees. So that is another bargaining after final price was decided. But when you purchase online, after applying all the available offers, if the final bill comes as 9,035 rupees and 85 paise, then we have to give those amount exactly what it shows. So in e-payment system, they are receiving the full payment. Traditional commerce, sometimes it also happens that we purchase something from a known shop and we say that I will give it tomorrow, I will pay tomorrow, or my father will come and pay tomorrow, which is again their investment. So that is in e-payment system, this thing never happens. In e-payment system, if you are purchasing something and if you are logging out of the website, you need to make payment if the things you want to purchase. In many cases, payment on delivery option is also available, cash on delivery. And most of the user previous before couple of years, most of the user were selecting this option, that cash on delivery, to make sure the product is reached. Then goods are delivered to the customer within few days. That's a drawback of e-commerce. E-commerce never ends with product in your customer's hand. Whereas in traditional commerce, if we are genuinely going to purchase some product, then we come out of the shop with product in our hand. Whereas in traditional commerce, it happens, but in e-commerce, it never happens. In e-commerce, at least we have to wait for 24 hours. It reduces the per transaction cost. So per transaction cost is reduced because online it is not like that. If there are many customers, then transaction cost will increase. But in traditional commerce, during Diwali, Satamatam, these days when there are more customers, they will have more transaction cost because AC, electronic, all the AC and fan and other things, electricity bill will be more. Then they need to keep more salespersons during those days. So per transaction cost increases. It reduces the time taken to perform an overall transaction. So overall transaction time is also reduced when it is done online. Once you finalize the product online, it takes a very short period of time to complete the transaction because you just make payment or select cash on delivery, provide your shipping address, and that's done. Whereas in traditional commerce, it takes time to find the fresh piece, then packing that piece, and then making payment, and the problem of whether chutta paisa che ki nahi, kya che ki nahi. So all this thing is taking more time. So these are the features of e-commerce compared to traditional commerce. And today's this lecture's last topic we discuss is e-commerce in India. E-commerce in India is experiencing a remarkable growth and successfully changing the way people doing transaction online. This statement is almost 8 to 10 years old. Now at present, we are not experiencing a remarkable growth, rather we have been grown. Now almost everybody in India is using e-commerce. Even the people staying in rural area, they are also using e-commerce facility. The following are the main factors which are playing important role for the growth of e-commerce in India, and let us see those points. The growth of technology facilitators such as internet, broadband connection, 3G services, availability of laptop, easy availability of now smartphones, tablets, and internet connection dongles. All these things now have become so common that it has given growth to e-commerce in India. Remember again 3G services, because this textbook was written in 8 9 years back. Now we are already in 4G services. Smartphone, tablets, dongles are now almost absolute, because now internet we are getting every day minimum 2 GB in our mobile phone. So there is now no need of any dongle. Our mobile phone acts as a dongle. But that is what growth of technology. And because of the growth of technology, e-commerce in India is experiencing tremendous growth. Increase in use of mobile devices. You know that before 10 years how many people were using smartphone, and now how many people are using smartphone, and per family they have how many smartphones? So many. So that increasing use of mobile devices, smartphone, has also given rise to e-commerce in India. Availability of much wider product range. Now online there is many product range, because they don't need to keep the product, physical product. So they just keep the photographs, and there are much wider product range available online in e-commerce, which is not possible to keep in traditional business. So that has also given rise to e-commerce. Busy lifestyles of Indian people, traffic congestion, lack of time for traditional shopping. All these also given rise to e-commerce in India. Even the lockdown has given very good rise to e-commerce in India, because people were not allowed to go out. So people started using e-commerce. Lower prices compared to brick and mortar retail, driven by disintermediation and reduced inventory and real estate cost. So lower price. So there is now no so many brokers coming in between. When in traditional commerce, we don't know that product which we are purchasing are coming through how many hands and how many commissions are added. In e-commerce, there is only one broker, and that is website. So we are getting comparatively less price, and the cost is reduced. The real estate cost is also not affecting the e-commerce. So all these things has given rise to e-commerce in India. But the most important is technology facilitators, the growth of technology facilitators like 4G services, laptop, smartphone, tablet, availability of internet connection in rural area, smartphone availability. All these things has given rise to e-commerce in India. So this is what the e-commerce in India. So today we discussed the topics like net banking, all these things, the last four things we discussed. After this, online billing we discussed, information services, support services, net banking. Then we saw the features of traditional commerce, we saw the features of electronic commerce, and then we saw the growth, how the e-commerce is growing in India. What is the situation of e-commerce in India? Still, there are few things we'll see about e-commerce in India. There are a lot of online stores now in India which are becoming quite popular. Now, not becoming quite popular. At present, they are very much popular, like Flipkart, eBay India, Snapdeal, Amazon, Myntra, Domino's, Paytm, Jabong, and many, many more. Redbus. So many online are becoming popular and became popular. Online retailers have also started offering a cash on delivery option. You know that now most of the website they offer this option, and it is the most preferred payment option for Indian people, and almost 80% of Indian purchasers using this option. And for customer, cash on delivery makes it easy to reject the product at the point of delivery. Though from point of view of business, it is an expensive job, but still to promote e-commerce, they are giving this facility. And the last is industry experts are still very much optimistic about the future of potential growth of e-commerce industry in India. That is again before 8 or 10 years at present. So that growth is almost on its peak. Well planned and pre-decided strategies will give a boost to the growth of e-commerce in India, which has again already given the boost. At present, I think anybody viewing this video, I don't think they would have not done any e-commerce activity. So you, me, everybody Once, somewhere, someday, we have done e-commerce activity and that is increasing. Day by day, it is increasing. So that is the situation of e-commerce in India. Now, next is advantages of e-commerce. So we don't need to explain that what are the advantages of e-commerce, but let's say because it is given in the textbook, let us understand as per the textbook the advantages of e-commerce in e-commerce. The first advantage, it conducts business 24/7. As you know, all the e-commerce websites, they don't sleep. They are 24/7 available. We can go to any website at any point of time without any restriction of time limit. So the business is being conducted 24/7 when it is e-commerce. Whereas traditional commerce, you know that the shop has to, at certain point of time, shop has to close down. But when it is online e-commerce, it is 24/7. Lower cost. The lower cost using internet for business activities can reduce the cost of marketing, distribution, phone calling, postage charges, printing many bills and other things. All these costs are now removed when it is e-commerce, when the things are done electronically. Even in e-commerce, the requirement of physical store space is not there. The requirement of furnishing the physical store is not required. So that also reduces the burden on e-commerce websites. The cost of opening a physical store is otherwise a big expense, which is not on it is not occurring in the e-commerce activity. And customers are also benefited. They are benefited by getting a wide range of product because e-commerce websites, they don't need to keep the physical store. They can keep all the photographs and details about many products, so they can keep wider range of products, whereas physical stores, they have limitations. They cannot keep every models for display for particular product. So that is again the advantage of e-commerce. And finally, the vendors and elimination of the distributor, intermediate distributors, is also reduced in e-commerce. So all this thing leads to lower cost for the product which is selling on online e-commerce website. Third point, no boundaries or geographical limitations. You know that when it is through website, we don't bother that this website belongs to which city or which country. As far as we are getting the product in the at the cost which we like, the minimum cost and maximum discount, we purchase. Then we don't think about the boundaries or geographical limitations. So a physical store is limited to a geographical area. कोई physical store होए तो wherever it may be, the customer base will be only the people staying around that area. So limited customer. But for e-commerce, there is no boundary. So business can reach out to millions and millions of customers worldwide, and that which is not possible in any physical or traditional e-commerce. It has the ability, e-commerce has the ability to reach potential buyers easily, further creating new markets. So sometimes in traditional commerce, if I know that in Ahmedabad there is a very good store where things are available and very interesting and very competitive rate things are available, but it is difficult every time to go there and purchase it. But if it is online through e-commerce, it becomes very easy. So it also creates a new customer base in the different areas and global coverage can be done. So using e-commerce, we can cover the almost every customer around the globe. So that is also advantage of e-commerce. And because of the global coverage can be reached through creating a website and uploading it on internet. So you can know that there is no limit then who can purchase from that website. From any part of the world, anybody can purchase through that website. Fourth point, improved and better customer service. You know that when the customer service, when it is based on e-commerce, on website, customer service is transparent and same for every customer. So there is no discrimination. As there is a direct communication with the customer, it is possible to solve their queries related to the price or quality or feature of the product or any other problem arising, that resulting in a better customer services. For companies that do business with other companies or adding customer services online is a competitive advantage. We like those websites where we get the proper customer service, so that we are sure that if anything wrong happens with the product which we ordered, we will be getting the proper customer service. So that can be the one of the advantage. But in traditional business, customer service is different from customer to customer. That shopkeeper might have different repo with one person and different repo with another person, and that will differ in giving the service also. So customer service is very transparent when it is online. Few more things, like online customer service makes customers happier, because there is now like even if I have rejected few products in past, it will not affect my next customer service as it is given by the website. So we are very happy we will be getting the same service as others are getting. E-commerce gives better and quicker customer service, because you register your request or complaint, you get a token number, and using that token number you can further communicate with the website, and you can come to know that where your service request or problem is reached. So that is again a best part for e-commerce. Information can be shared easily on internet, and if you feel that nobody is answering, you can immediately put your problem on social media, and then you know that okay, it will be automatically very fast, it will be then solved, or the problem will be solved. So a merchant can email its customer about the new product and can also solve the product related problem. For example, we purchased a accounting software from the other part of the country. Let's say we are somewhere in the Delhi and I'm purchasing accounting software somewhere from Karnataka or Bangalore. Then if I have some problem with the software, the company will resolve that problem online. So that is again another thing, that the product related services we can get from the remote area, any part of the world or from wherever. We don't need to travel there and get it done. So that is improved and better customer service. Teamwork. Teamwork, you know that it is a teamwork, that e-commerce helps organizations to work together, because many organizations comes together and then they work together, like bank, credit card, wallet companies, product sellers, purchasers, even the website holder. All this comes together and conducts the business smoothly. One good example is the use of email, which helps people to exchange information. That is again a teamwork. In teamwork, simple email sent to all the customer or all the employee will solve so much of problem and will save the lot of time. It has changed the way organization interact with supplier, vendor, business partners, and their valued customers. So more the interaction, better is the result. So all this thing happens because of the teamwork. Next is, it eliminates travel time and cost. We know that we don't need to travel, we don't need to go out of our comfort zone. So it eliminates travel time. And the cost for traveling, the fuel cost, parking cost, all these things are again eliminated. So it eliminates travel time and cost, and virtually we can do this activity, e-commerce activity, from anywhere. If we have proper desktop or laptop and internet connection, we can do the e-commerce activity from anywhere. We don't need to travel or go out of our comfort zone. And the last advantage, as per the textbook, is speed. The speed during business, e-commerce business, electronically done, it's much faster than using the traditional method. So there is it is very fast. Suppose I have a new product launching and I have 10,000 customers. If I want to inform them about this new product and its brochure and its details, if I print brochure, then put it in envelope, then print all the different addresses, then postage charge or courier charge, and then again it will take certain days to reach to the different customers. All this thing incurs lot of expenses, requires a lot of time and manpower. But the same thing, if I have a digitally created one catalog of that product, new product, and I have the email address or mobile number or phone number or WhatsApp number of my all the customers, I can send it immediately and it will reach within no time. So the speed for your marketing or your business is very fast. The speed of business transaction also increases significantly as delay for communication is totally avoided by conducting transaction online. If we send postage, the cover envelope or courier, then it may happen that the customer may say that we were out of the town and so we couldn't receive the letter. But if the same thing is sent through email, they cannot say that as we were not at home, we couldn't receive the email. So email, wherever they are, they can receive. WhatsApp or message, wherever they are, they can receive. So that is virtually customer can be contacted from any part of the world and at any time. So that also increases the speed of communication between vendor and supplier and customer and everybody involved in the business. Business organization, they can also generate purchase orders and send it to the supplier online without any delay. Very quickly they can send purchase order. Okay, these products are required and please send it immediately. So that also increases the speed of business. Suppliers on the other hand can receive and process the order quickly and immediately they can send even the bill or the voucher or whatever they prepare, whatever they are sending to the business house. So that also becomes very fast and all this thing helps in reducing the shipping time also. Information appearing on the internet can be changed rapidly also. So if there is on your website you have what particular product price and now you want to change that price, it takes very a small time, within a no time in fact, you can change the price on your website. So it is then again very quickly. So information which are appearing on your website through internet can be changed rapidly and this gives business organization the ability to inform the customers of any changes in the product, its detail, if its service or its price. So that becomes very fast. So these are the some of the advantages of e-commerce. Now, e-commerce also provides the following benefits to the society. So there are some benefits to the society also. When we are conducting e-commerce, society is also getting some benefits like buy from home, office or any place. So no traffic problem, less traveling to purchase a product which further reduces the pollution and traffic problem. Healthcare services, as you know at present, we can register ourselves on CoWIN website for the vaccination. So it also saves our time and distance learning and education that also you are experiencing that now from any part of the world you can learn many different courses online. Many universities, many institutions are sending or keeping their videos, tutorials online, which we can anytime download or we can even watch that and learn the things, different topics. So these are the benefits to the society for the because of the e-commerce. Limitations of e-commerce. Now it's not like everything is good for e-commerce. There are certain limitations also for e-commerce. The first one is resistance to change. Now, when you are having your traditional commerce, people, those who are in traditional commerce, need to get used to faceless and paperless transaction. You know that e-commerce is faceless and paperless transaction. No face is seen when I order something on Flipkart. I don't see any face, neither website sees my face. Paperless, I don't order anything on paper, they don't even give me any paper. So it is paperless, faceless transaction. Initial cost. Initial cost is something that e-commerce, if you try to change your traditional commerce to e-commerce, it also incurs some initial cost. So e-commerce requires significant initial investment in new hardware. You need to purchase different kinds of hardware like barcode reader and credit card reader and computer and other things. Software also you need, which can understand the barcode scanning and can generate bill and other things. The staff training is also required, which makes them understand the way how to conduct this e-commerce business using all these different hardware and software. So all this thing incurs some initial cost. Third is security. I would request that you make a point that you understand the security point very clearly, because the next topic is privacy and both are almost same. But Gujarat board, when they ask a question, they stick to the sentence formation which is given in the textbook. So in security, it is said that a primary concern in e-commerce is security. Whereas in privacy, it says the privacy of the customer's information is a serious issue. Actually, if you put security word here, that the security of the customer's information is a serious issue, then also it is meaningful. And if you put here privacy, that a primary concern in e-commerce is privacy, then also it is meaningful. But board expects that you remember this two sentence formation like this. So remember that for security it says a primary concern in e-commerce is security. The data or information which are traveling on the internet should be protected. When we order something, when we make payment, so we mention our credit card number, our CVV number, our password and other things, that should be protected. Internet provides universal access, but companies should protect their assets from malicious or accidental misuse. But quite often we even hear that particular XYZ company has sold their customers' data to other marketing companies. So that's a primary concern. The security is a primary concern. Privacy. The privacy of the customer's information is a serious issue. Customers hesitate to share their personal information on the internet due to the fear of misuse, that it might be misused. So customers, still there are few customers, they feel that no, not to use e-commerce, not to do net banking, not to purchase, and even if you purchase online, not to make payment using credit or debit card, only to go for cash on delivery. So that is because customers are hesitating for sharing their personal information. Many times the companies sell their database information to marketing companies, and then they in turn send unwanted mails to the customers. We all have experienced this, that once we make some purchase online on any website, we keep on getting different advertisement from different companies. So that happens. The hackers also might intercept the information on the internet and then they might misuse it. So it is very important that if you are conducting e-commerce activity quite often on your desktop or on your laptop, you must have a proper antivirus software installed. Credit card fraud, that also results into financial loss to the customer. Many a time we read in newspaper that somebody's credit card was misused, somebody else, so that is a hacker, some hacker from other part of the world has hacked some our credit card and then withdrew some money from our account. So that is a privacy also is on danger. So the privacy of customers information is also a serious issue. Lack of trust. Sometimes business frauds like non-delivery of the goods, incorrect information of the product, lack of security for payment transaction, even receiving the unwanted product with different, totally different product with different quality. All this thing creates dissatisfaction amongst the customers, and then they lose the trust from the website or from e-commerce activity. So that is lack of trust. Time for delivery of the product, we already saw that this is the limitation of e-commerce. If suppose today morning you come to know that evening you have to go for a function and you need particular colored shirt, t-shirt or shirt or trouser or some cloth, but with certain color which you don't have, then you cannot go for e-commerce. You have to go for traditional commerce, because if you go for e-commerce it takes minimum 24 hours for that product to reach you. So time for delivery of the product is taken more, whereas in physical shopping most of the time we come out of the shop with the product in our hand. So that is what it says, that in a physical store we select the product and leave the store with the product in our hands. But in e-commerce, we often buy products that are not available locally, and which means the product needs to be shipped or delivered, which takes some time and even it sometimes costs extra money. So the cost of shipping charges is also an overhead in case of the product which is ordered from distant places. But many websites they say that they are giving free delivery. So that is also another thing. But these are the limitations of the e-commerce. Now we'll see the last topic of chapter 4, and that is e-commerce business models. Now what is e-commerce business models? The business models of e-commerce, they are defined based on the parties involved and the type of business activities those parties are carrying or they are doing, or the different services they are providing. So the business model, different business models are defined, and if you refer to different websites, you will find a different list of models. Textbook discusses about the most general e-commerce model, but they are defined based on which two parties are involved and what type of business activities or service they are rendering to the customer. Generally, the classification of e-commerce model is done on the basis of who is selling to whom. So one website owner is selling some product and we as a consumer purchasing that product. So who is selling to whom, and based on that there are certain e-commerce model defined. So the popular e-commerce models are business to consumer, in short it is called B2C, business to business, that is B2B, consumer to consumer, that is C2C, consumer to business, that is C2B. Now, if we consider government also as part of e-commerce activity, as a part of e-governance, then there are another three models: government to business, that is G2B, government to citizen, that is G2C, and government to government, G2G. Let us see all these models in detail. The first one, business to consumer, B2C. B2C model refers to the business and organizations that sell product or services to consumers over the internet using different websites. Yes, so as you understand, Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, all these are B2C, business to consumer website. Consumers from anywhere, from any part of the world, can browse and order the products or services anytime. So we can open all of these applications, Flipkart and Amazon, from any part of the world, and we can order any product which is available on that website. And that also at any time, from anywhere and anytime. The sellers can sell products directly to the consumer. So here the sellers comes directly via, definitely they come via website, but then there are no intermediates in between, other commission agents. So seller can sell products directly to the consumer through that e-commerce website. This is the type of e-commerce that the consumers are most likely to see on internet. We see most of the websites like this only, selling some product and we be the customer purchasing those product. B2C website has gained high popularity amongst customers due to simplified and fast way to buy product. You know that every now and then you see some better changes or better improvement in all these websites. Flipkart, Amazon, all these websites, they are making it more and more easy to use, user friendly website. Business to consumer has gained high popularity amongst the customers due to simplified and fast way to buy products. B2C also includes services like online banking, that is net banking, real estate services, that is 99acres.com, travel services, Make My Trip, and many more. Some examples of B2C websites are Amazon.com, Rediff.com, Fabmart.com, Flipkart.com, etc. So all these are B2C kind of website. Even I Make My Trip, the travel service, estate service, as I said, 99 acres. So all these are B2C. Next model is business to business, B2B. B2B refers to e-commerce activities between different business partners. So there is no individual consumer involved. On both the end there are business houses. So in B2B, both the seller and buyer both are business entities, no individual customer. B2B enables the business to form e-relationship with their suppliers, distributors and other agents. So for example, air condition company, suppose Samsung, the West Zone distributor of Samsung company deals with the dealer, local dealer of particular city in West Zone, that is B2B, business house, because there is no individual consumer involved. B2B allows more transparency among business entities involved and results in more efficiency. So it allows business houses to result in more efficiency. More efficiently they can do the business. For ordering some product, they don't need to send any order, paper order, printed order. Everything is done electronically, so it is very fast and result oriented activity. With the help of B2B, the companies can improve the efficiency of common business activities like supplier management, inventory management, payment management, etc. because everything is done online. So supplier can order or dispatch, bill, inventory, they can maintain that which shop has purchased how much from the particular or business house. Payment management, because they manage payment also online, so things becomes very streamlined. B2B is an effective media for managing supply chain, telemarketing, procurement. Procurement means obtaining goods or different services, just-in-time delivery, online services, etc. etc. Some examples of B2B websites are commodity.com and tradeindia.com. You definitely remember all these examples which are given in the textbook because many a time board is asking all these things. Third, that is consumer to consumer, C2C. Consumer to consumer refers to e-commerce activities involving transactions between and among the consumers. Now here it is exactly opposite to B2B. In B2B no consumers were involved, whereas in C2C no business house is involved. On both the end there are consumer. So it is involving transaction between and among the consumers. C2C enables the consumers to directly deal with each other through online auctions and classified advertisements without the involvement of any third party or any business house. So OLX, eBay, all these are C2C, you must be knowing. Any internet user can become a vendor or purchaser at C2C website. If I have old laptop which I want to sell, I will be the vendor. And if I want to purchase old laptop from OLX or eBay, I will become purchaser. So anybody can become vendor or purchaser on C2C website. Auction sites are the best example of C2C business model. And some of the examples of C2C websites are ebay.com, olx.com and quicker.com. So these are the examples of C2C website, consumer to consumer. The last model in normal e-commerce models, the fourth model, that is consumer to business, C2B. C2B involves reverse auctions where the consumer determine the prices of the products or services. We put our criteria that I want to purchase this product at this rate with this much discount, and if any business house is ready to sell, they will agree. So in this type of e-commerce model, consumers have a choice of a wide range of products and services along with the opportunity to specify the range of prices that they can afford. Rather than website giving them the price, consumer will decide that I want to purchase a television ranging from 25,000 to 40,000, so that we can decide. The companies bid to offer the product or services to the consumer if they feel that it is comfortable to the company. So that is C2B is a reverse auction. C2B also reduces the bargaining time because here we are telling our final price, and if business house is ready, they will contact online, and then deal will be finalized. So there is no bargaining time wasted for the bargaining, while increasing flexibility for both consumer as well as for the business house or company. So C2B uses internet to reverse the normal buying process. The normal buying process is totally reversed, wherein the consumers decides what they are willing to pay and business decides whether to accept it or not. So C2B gives freedom to the consumer to decide the price of particular product, and the business house has the freedom to accept it or to not to accept it and regret that. C2B is one type of reverse auction. Some of the examples of C2B websites are bidstall.com, jeetle.com. Let me tell you one thing. At present, nowadays, because this is written before 8-10 years, at present, you all are aware that B2C website, that is Flipkart, Amazon, they have also some facility which matches with C2B website, consumer to business. That if I go to t-shirt section of Flipkart, then I have some filters where I can decide I want V-neck t-shirt, I want solid color t-shirt, I want this brand t-shirt only, I want only those t-shirts who is having 60% or more discount. I want only those t-shirts where price is less than 7.99. So all these are filters which we can apply on B2C website, where the website acts as again as C2B also. Now, as we discussed, if we consider government also as part of e-commerce, then there are three models: government to business, government to citizen, and government to government. So the first one, G2B. Government to business refers to the services and information provided by the government to the business organizations through vast network of government websites. So where government keeps all the information for the business houses, that how to start business, what documents are required to get government permissions and other things. A business organization can get all the information related to business policies, approval for starting the business, setup requirement, and other specifications from these websites. So it becomes easy. They don't need to go to government offices to find out or to get the form. All the forms are available. So various forms can be filled, and even they can be submitted online to the related government office. This business model is a part of e-governance initiative. It lessens the burden from business house, those who want to start a new business, and they can get all the primary information and filling up all the approval forms online. So that becomes very easy for the business to start new venture. Government to citizen. Here G2C doesn't mean government to consumer, because we are not consumer of government. Rather, we are citizen of government. So government to citizen is also a part of e-governance activity. The main objective of this business model is to provide good and effective services to individual citizen. So in short, it protects our rights. Those websites which help us know our rights and to execute our rights, that is the government to citizen or G2C website. The website provides information regarding various government departments, various welfare schemes launched by government, different application forms to be used by the citizens, etc. So in simple, for example, at present if we see CoWIN website where you can go and you can find out, you can register yourself for the vaccination. So that's a G2C. You go to anti-corruption website and you register about any bad experience you had in government office and somebody asks you for the bribe, you can go to anti-corruption website. So all these websites are G2C. The Gujarat government has developed its own network and that is called Gujarat State Wide Area Network, in short GS1. For this purpose, and it is available online on www.gs1.government.india. So that is Gujarat State Wide Area Network. Let me tell you one more thing. Your result, 10th standard board result or 12th standard board result, which where you see that is GSEB website, that is also part of government to citizen. And the last one is government to government. Government to government refers to online non-commercial communication. It is a non-commercial because now there is no consumer, no citizen, no business house involved. On both the end there are government department. So it refers to online non-commercial communication between the government agencies, government organizations and different government departments with other government agencies, organizations and departments. The sharing of information helps in reducing IT costs, streamline procedures, and government offices can be more effective. So like data of one government office will be shared by other government office also, so that they don't need to gather that same data again and again, and then things will be smooth. So like for example, you must be knowing our PAN card number is shared by almost all IT department, bank and other places also. So they share all this information so that the work will be streamlined. From all the e-commerce models which we described or discussed, B2C and B2B are the two most widely used models. Remember, this is also being asked in board exam, that which of the following models are most widely used models. So that is B2C and B2B. And the major difference between both of them are consumer. In one B2C, there is consumer involved, whereas in B2B, there is no consumer involved. So in B2B model, the consumers are other companies only, while in B2C model, the consumers are individuals. So that is what chapter 4, Introduction to E-commerce